Introduction. Blockchain is an amazing new technology that is going to change the world, just like barcodes did back in the 70s. I like to think of blockchain as barcodes Mark II. Just like in the 70s and 80s, we have to make the explanation of the technology very simple, so we can explain it to corporates in a simple manner and lower their fear or anxiety associated with the perceived risk of adoption, so they feel more comfortable with the technology. Blockchain is the underlying technology behind Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And unfortunately, when I mention blockchain, everyone thinks of Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies. This is why the first and most prevalent applications are in financial services, such as payment systems. But what will change the world is when corporates realize the benefits of using this technology. Blockchains will enhance existing barcode systems, as products and services can be tracked and traced faster and with confidence. In fact, it is in the supply chain that early adoption is seen, due to the ease of storing data that has been validated and are available for viewing anytime and anywhere just by accessing the portal. Authentication and provenance of medicines, food, and art can be trusted, thus forgeries will be a thing of the past. Governments can have their voters' details stored on the blockchain to prevent double voting or dead people voting, putting trust into the voting system. What did the invention of the barcode do for trade? As Sir Terry Leahy, former CEO of Tesco, once said, "Without barcodes, I have no business." In fact, people like him and Fred Smith of FedEx couldn't operate without barcodes. They eliminate human intervention and thus errors, as well as speeding up data entry. A simple scan of a barcode enters data, which can be manipulated at will. A parcel can be sent to a central depot, such as Memphis in FedEx's case, and then shipped out to all points in the world overnight. Retailers like Tesco are able to track their stock from the moment it enters their system to the point of sale, enabling immediate stock replenishment. In fact, inventory management is the most prevalent solution using barcodes and ensures all businesses can enjoy efficiencies and stock accuracy previously only dreamt of. This has obvious customer benefits, as they are less likely to shop elsewhere as a result of things working as expected. Healthcare has been changed beyond belief thanks to barcodes and enjoyed some of the earliest solutions, most notably blood transfusion. Blood bags are labeled with blood-type barcodes and tracked through the system, and patients are given barcoded wristbands so they're given the correct blood and/or medicine, thus dramatically reducing deaths from incorrect administration. Global trade has barcode standards to ensure there is a standard numbering system for containers and shipping units, enabling companies to track where their shipments are at any one time. This also reduces time and adds efficiency to the supply chain. If you compare trade in China with other countries, it can be seen how important barcodes are and what can go wrong with them. Supply chains in China are fragmented due to the lack of a national carrier, so shipments have to be transshipped from company to company if they're going long distance, thus giving rise to damaged goods from excessive handling and inefficiencies in traceability, as some companies are still using pen and paper, some even spreadsheets, and some without computer systems, whereas outside China, most use barcodes. The benefits of blockchain. Blockchain is akin to barcodes in many ways and offers several benefits. First, it is a decentralized ledger or database, which is distributed amongst the computer nodes who run the blockchain, so there is no single point of failure, and more importantly, no single person or organization controlling the network. This shared data is the history of every transaction and is stored in multiple copies on a network of computers called nodes. To be part of the blockchain ecosystem, each person adding a transaction has to be validated for their identity by the community. And each transaction needs to start with a digital identity, such as a barcode or tag. Thus, everyone can trust the people and the transactions that make up the blockchain community. Secondly, what makes the blockchain theoretically tamper-proof is it carries a cryptographic fingerprint or hash unique to each block, which is a proof of work by miners who have to solve a complicated algorithm using a great deal of computing power to add a block to the blockchain. Also, the consensus protocol by which nodes in the network agree utilizes a shared history model. Each block of transactions is hashed and copied to each node, and a new block will include a hash of the whole history, thus practically making any changes of historical data impossible or extremely time-consuming and costly, as an attacker will have to overtake a minimum of 51% of all nodes to change consensus and history. Thus, all actors can track if changes happened. Thirdly, the blockchain represents a single version of the truth. So if you have a supply chain or ecosystem where some of the actors are not trusted, or the data isn't trusted as authentic, or being the latest version, the blockchain provides an opportunity to filter such actors and enables trading only with authentic people, even those you have not considered beforehand. Fourthly, transparency is a key benefit of blockchain technology. Everyone who's been approved in the ecosystem has visibility of the data anytime they want, just to log in through a portal. Depending on the business model, you can design it so that only some actors are allowed to view, or that everyone is allowed to view. An example of the latter is used by producers and retailers to provide consumers more transparency on how products are sourced. Finally, the blockchain makes payments very simple and fast and cuts out banks, as you don't need them as the middleman that holds the ledger or record of who is paying who. The distributed ledger holds this single version of the truth. Payments can be made as soon as the criteria for the transaction has been satisfied. Documents can be authenticated and placed on the blockchain. Everything or person being placed on the blockchain has to be authenticated and start with a digital identity, in fact, a barcode or RFID tag. A useful side benefit of the blockchain is a piece of software that creates smart contracts. These can sit on the blockchain and automatically execute certain events, like payment for a shipment, provided certain criteria are met. So, if, for example, a person specifies a shipment must be delivered by a certain date with no damage and with an accurate invoice, then the payment will be triggered immediately to the seller without intervention from banks or any third party.